So apparently Warner Bros. Stock is down and their profits are down around 40% since their last big game, which mind you, their last big profitable game was Hogwarts, which I think it sold 1 million or 1 billion copies or something like that. 1 billion copies, it made over $1 billion. So understandable, but to them that is a loss. And the main reason for that loss is Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, a game that they were really banking on to really give them more money and make them more money. But the problem happened when they basically acquired Rocksteady and forced them to fit a live service model, and this ultimately hurt the game's quality because that was basically like trying to fit a square shape in a circular hole, because not all games are meant to be live service. In fact, when you make a lot of games live service, it cuts down on the amount of content that you could have and how good the game could be perceived as. If Suicide Squad Killed the Justice League came out as one big game with all of the content right there, like literally all the content that we're getting in the next seasons, if that all came as the full game, then I want to say I don't think people would complain as much. A lot of people are complaining that's a bad game, this, that, and third, right? But I really do believe that if this game came out, as some people like to say, complete, like it's a complete game and everything else is an extra add-on, then I feel as if this game would have done a lot better and probably would have made more money. They probably would have been able to then add live service onto it later or add some transactions onto it later. But I think in the pursuit of money, Warner Bros., they lose touch with their audience and what people actually want from superhero games. And now I think they're finally starting to see the error of their ways. They realize that when they try to force a game dev to make a game that doesn't play to their strengths or make a game that's completely outside of their skill set, and then on top of that make it live service, I think that they realize that it would be better just to have people make games that they want to make, games that they're passionate about. Now, superhero games have become big business because of games like the Arkham series and the Spider-Man games, and WB sees that, but they don't know how to properly execute these things to actually make good money. Don't get me wrong, I think making money is great. You just have to do it in a way that doesn't upset the audience. It makes them feel like you're just trying to milk them from everything you got. If you look at games like, one of my favorite games I like to play, Dokkan Battle, is basically gambling, and they do all these little tricks and psychological tricks just to get people to spend money on Dragonstones and things like that. But no, you don't see people complaining about that. People love the game. You know why? Because it's still a good quality game at the end of the day, and it's not polished trash. Don't get me wrong, Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, it had great game mechanics in my opinion. I love the game mechanics. The game looked great. Like, it actually looked great. Like, these are some of the best face models I've ever seen. Besides that new Captain America 1943 video game that's going to be coming out soon. But aside from that, the gameplay loop, it's repetitive, and they just keep giving us this recycled content basically, and the grind is hellish. So outside of it looking pretty and having good game mechanics, fun game mechanics, what else does it have to offer? Because we definitely can't say that the story is good. I mean, the story has something to it, but it's not the best it could be. It's not what we see in the past with games like Arkham City, Arkham Knight, Arkham Asylum, things like that. And the reason goes back to what I was saying. They are trying to force these game devs into making games that they don't want to make, or making games a way that they think will make the most money. And should we really be listening to them? Because thus far, they haven't made anything good, right? But it seems like they've finally come to their senses. I don't think there's anything wrong with live service or trying to make money off of a video game. I think that if you're going to try to make money off of a video game, at least make it of higher quality. I'm not saying this is the worst game ever, but you never want to give people recycled content. It's boring and it makes people feel taken advantage of. So with that being said, WB has decided that instead of acquiring game developers like they've been doing, they would just acquire game developers. And I wouldn't even say force them, because if you buy someone out, you're their boss now. So I mean, they're working for you. They can always just quit, but they will acquire companies or buy them out and force them to make games a certain way that they want them to make it, ideally to make more money. But now they've decided to start having companies or game devs pay them licensing fees to use their IPs, such as Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman. So now we can potentially have game developers who aren't really in it for the money, because they have to pay a licensing fee just to acquire the IP to make a game that they want. Let's say it's Insomniac, they pay WB and they say, hey, we want to make a Batman game. And WB says, okay, you can use this, you can do that. They make the game great and the game sells out like crazy. I think that would be awesome. And then if WB really wants to make money, they can go back and say, hey, let's put a few microtransactions in there. It doesn't have to be live service to make a ton of money. Look at Ubisoft. Ubisoft has literally perfected it, if you ask me. I can't tell you how much money I've spent on Assassin's Creed. Time savers and resource boost and cosmetics. If they really want the money, they would just do that. Have these new developers make these games that they're passionate about, make it with a bunch of love and passion, and then put transactions, microtransactions on it afterwards. That way you can still make the money whilst also having someone who's competent and someone who actually cares about something other than the money to make a great game for fans who will love it. But the worst thing WB can do is license out their IPs to other companies and then acquire them later, because they've proven that when they do that, they always find a way to mess up the actual creative process of the game, ultimately making them hurt the quality of the game and make less money. So they believe that games as a service will be their ticket to making more money. Any game can make money. I think it's all about the delivery and the quality. Let's get back to quality games. And as far as the movies department and every other part of DC and superheroes and everything, they've been lacking, they've been flopping with that too. So I think that if WB was smart, they would keep the corporate hands really out of it, out of the creative process. That's the best that they can do when it comes to these movies and games and things like that. Keep the corporate aspect out of it. Let the creators do what they need to do. And as for the fans out there, stop being toxic and blaming everything on developers. You do realize these guys, they don't really have all that much control over what happens with the game. Ultimately, their boss makes the decision what gets to stay and what gets to go. So all this talk about, oh, the game devs don't care, ah man, F the game devs, they suck. Don't blame the game devs, blame the boss, WB. It's their fault for becoming too greedy. So with that being said, let's bring back quality games. And yeah, this could be a great turning point for WB. Let me know what you think in the comments. I just feel like as long as they keep their hands out of the creative process and let the new developers that they're licensing their IPs out to actually do what they want to do, I think that this could be a turning point for them. I think that they can make a lot of money just like they want to, as long as they just stick with that. As long as they're not too obsessed with money that they want to change everything. You know what I mean? So with that being said, love you guys. Subscribe. Peace.